Hi guys, Kargash here, and today um, I'm bringing you another video, obviously, but I wanted to show off a new set of markers that I found when I was out and about. The new schedule has given me a few days of freedom each week, and this last week I went kind of on a bit of a shopping spree, where I found these light. I found these packs of alcohol markers in at Five Below, um, which I figured I would kind of show off today. Maybe give a nice test swatch and maybe color in something for you guys. But yeah, they look pretty good. I don't know why there's a kind of black labeled version here and a white labeled version here, and they look to be from the same company. Maybe these are just better colors, or maybe these are like the primary set, because that looks that looks pretty bold. These look a bit more like secondary colors. Brain didn't want to work there for a little bit. But yeah. So, first things first. Gotta have a test swatch page just to see what the colors are like. Common sense would have dictated I probably should have opened these up beforehand so I'd have an easier time getting into them, but I didn't want to mess up the packaging too badly. I'm hoping for another pleasant surprise from these markers like I have with some of the other brands I've found throughout the years. Okay, they're just called illustration markers. Do we have a company name? Not really. If someone knows the name or brand of these markers, please do let me know, because I have no idea. Let's see here, just... Here's... Guess I'll just start with the basic ones. Oop, yep. So just 120 black, maybe, if the camera will focus. Bullet tip. Oh, it takes a little bit of effort to actually get the cap off, but so for black, goes down fine enough. Ooh. Hold it. See here, how bad was that? Did that just seep right through the paper? Yeah, it did. Okay, so this is only 110-pound cardstock, so stuff will seep through. It's not the industrial paper that I've showed you guys before, so I'm just gonna, I guess, just go by numbers. So 20. Alright, I'm gonna swatch these out and I'll see you guys after. for round one, that looked actually pretty good. They all laid down pretty nicely. I did notice that with a few of the lighter colors, oh boy, like the yellow here and the salmon pink, they start to get this kind of edge around them where it darkens kind of slightly. But overall the laydown is pretty good. It's definitely seeps through the paper like nobody's business. So either you get stronger paper or have something to catch the ink. But yeah, for just the simple kind of 18 pack for $5, I'd say you'd be pretty well off to get said set if you were just wanting to color and have a little bit of fun with it. Maybe start working on illustrations, like just to improve your skill set. It's a decent range to start with. So for $5, not too bad. I'm gonna start getting into the other ones here, so don't worry on that. I am curious if any of these are maybe the same, or if they're different already mixed colors. Ooh. Oh, I see a familiar name. Maybe it's just for a sleeker looking barrel. I'm going to be very upset if that is the case. I'm going to go... ooh, that actually... It's much nicer actually than... Okay, so for starters, I was gonna go back into 2 times speed, but instead of having to fight, because like these guys there's you have to put quite a bit of force to open those up. So if you wanted to fight your art supplies, I mean, I guess maybe those would be the markers for you. But this one, nice soft little click. Only takes a little bit of effort to actually get that off there. So I wonder if these are just supposed to be the slightly nicer version of these, but they're also $5. Well, it's $5 for a 12 pack of these ones, whereas it's also $5 to get the white barreled ones. So yeah, I'm just gonna go kind of quick here. I mean, of course I had to choose the one that would be almost, I'm not a fan of that. The ink looks similar, but the nib is very different from what I would consider a normal chisel tip. It's kind of very fat, almost kind of pen-like. So I wonder if maybe if it's supposed to be more of like for writing. Anyway, 120. And the ink looks a little different. This looks a little lighter in person than this does, but the one I have some concerns about. I guess it's not going to show up, but it says 50 forest green. The 50 here is the forest green from the white. And it's an entirely different ink color. Okay. Oh, I really, this chisel is not for me. So it's an entirely different green, so okay, that's good. But then it begs the question if it's the same company or not, or if they're just buying someone else's inks and putting them together. I didn't force that to happen. That's just how this came with the label coming off of it. It's also just $5, but still, I'd expect a little bit of quality control. I can already sort of feel a difference. The nib, even though it's still a bullet nib, it feels like it takes a little bit more control to actually get a fine line, or even just a straight line. And this, I might complain about this a little bit, but a little bit more than it should. But the chisel, this particular type of chisel tip sucks. I know most people don't like the chisel tip to begin with, but this particular one extra sucks. At least for me. Maybe some people like the weird, wide kind of pen shape to it, or fountain pen shape to it. Alright, I am going to speed through this next bit here, and I'll meet you on the other side. Alright guys, looks like we have all of our swatches done. And while I was working on it, I did notice that the second batch, these kind of black labeled ones, actually had more of like an alcohol marker feel to them as opposed to these guys. And that is when I noticed that on the box that only the two smaller packs actually said they're alcohol ink markers. These ones just labeled themselves as illustration markers, which 9 times out of 10, I'm not, obviously it's not going to be every time, but a lot of the illustration markers I've ever seen have all been like kind of like permanent markers, but not exactly, because they do kind of blend into each other and they can get some nice solid colors, which isn't a bad thing. You can get nice solid colors for your illustrations and whatnot, but it's not going to have this nice kind of gradient blendability that some of these have that is lost on the camera. But you can kind of see here with the gray how it goes from a lighter shade to a darker. The illustration markers are going to have a slightly harder time doing something like that. So there is a difference. I have found the difference, and now I think it's time that we move on to a picture. Alright guys, here's the photo I picked out. It's another one from the book called Just Add Ink, made by Brandon Incorporated. Is it this book? Just Add Ink, Adult Tattoo Coloring. Bendon, sorry, my mistake. Bendon. Anywho, that is what I'm going to be using today. It's on the cardstock again. I didn't know if my printer would handle the extra thick kind of multimedia paper that I had found a few videos ago. Oh, and I need to get back to using that book some more. But anyway, I'm going to hop right on into this, and I'll see you on the other side. Well, uh, that'll be it for today. My kind of final thoughts on them is that the alcohol markers are actually really nice. They work really well. They don't really pull up the ink, which is really good because not every alcohol marker is good about not pulling up printer ink. But this is just something I printed on, and it wasn't wanting to like pull the ink with it. I mean, it did in some spaces, like around here and in the a little bit in the center of the flowers, but that's kind of be expected. I maybe didn't give the ink enough time to dry. I just know that some alcohol markers love to just completely bleed the ink from the paper, which is not good. And they have a really good like color payout, and I even tested a little bit in here where I went over one side of a leaf and then came back the other side to see if they would match up, and they did. So if you're worried about, if you're not super familiar with how to work with alcohol markers, they're forgiving enough that everything kind of blends out in the end, which is really nice. So yeah, I would give these solid like 7.5 out of 10. Just because it's a little weird to have to purchase 2 packs to get like a nice, or would be normally just a nice full range of like this bottom half here would be a nice little like 24 color range. So there's 212s. I mean, they'd have to toss in an extra color because there were 2 blacks between the 2 of them, but still, you could toss in one more color, offer it for $10, and it'd be a really good set. But yeah, anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I hope to catch you all again next time. Hopefully next week I'll have a few more videos to put out for you, and I'll see you all again later. Goodbye.